Hello and welcome back to another video. We're gonna continue with the Halo-themed October videos. Cheers! In today's video, we are gonna build a Theremin, and we're gonna use this kit from Wada? I don't know. I think you say Wada. Wada! It's a super tiny little kit. Not that many parts, but I also have this box right here. And it's like a cool little chest. It's nothing special, but I was thinking, because when you get these at the thrift store or at your arts and crafts store, they're not very nice. So I was thinking, we'll paint this, make it look like an old, creepy old chest, treasure chest, something like that. And we'll build this into it, and we'll do a little bit of changing around on this so that we can have a little bit more fun with it. For example, this has a speaker on it, but let's put a jack instead so that we can plug it in to pedals and into our interface and stuff like that. Also, I'm gonna see if I can do something about the actual Theremin thing that you're supposed to move your hands in, because in this kit it looks a little bit cheap. So, in case you didn't know, a Theremin is this instrument. It was invented about 100 years ago, and it was actually the first electronical instrument, and it was also first instrument you play by not touching it. It has a way that you interrupt with your hands in mid-air, and it's actually a really interesting and special kind of instrument. It has a very unique and weird sound to itself. So, if you've never heard it, you should definitely go and listen to one of them or something. And you might even want one. One thing that I really like about it is that it was used in almost every classical horror movie you can think of. Old movies, Frankenstein and the Werewolf and the Invisible Man all have them somewhere in the background. It's sort of the classical horror musical instrument. So, I thought it would fit perfectly for Halloween. So I'm just quickly gonna paint this box, and then we're gonna open this up and see what we get and build it. I'm not gonna go super much into soldering every component here in place, because the kit comes with instructions and all parts you need. But what you will need to see is the changes that I make. So we're gonna focus in on those parts of it. So let's get to it. So I have some lacquer stain in a bottle here, and I'm just gonna lather it on here, like so. And I'm not gonna even try to do a particularly even coat. I'm just gonna darken it up. And I might actually even go in. Oh, see? That's what happens when you paint and talk at the same time. You mess things up. I did not mean for that to happen. But I was thinking that I would, well, not pour it on like that, but I'm going to keep that part in because I need to have more showing the mistakes I do. My point was that I was going to make this look a little bit messy because it fits the vibe of what I'm going for. And another reason why I'm using a box is also because sometimes I build things and they end up being maybe not used that much. Like you can't always be using everything you own in every song, especially if you have more than one instrument. And so I'm thinking that, I'm probably going to do some fun things with it, and then later down the line I'm going to be like, oh, I remember I built that thing, and I'm going to have fun with it again. It might be years in between uses, because maybe I don't come up with anything fun to do with it, or maybe I don't get any particularly ideas that this will go well with. And the thing is, if it's just lying around collecting dust, I don't want it to get in to the actual electronics and things like that. So I'm thinking that having a box, basically, is what I'm trying to say, will be a good idea, because I will be able to dust off the box and keep it nice. Something like that. And I think because it looks nicer than I was hoping for. So I'm going to switch out the color, and I'm going to come in with a little bit of this golden and just pour a little bit on top. Like so. Just leave it there to soak up, sit around a little bit, make it look a little bit dirty. And then just to make it a little bit more dirty, I'm gonna throw some black on it, take the lid and just mess it up a little bit like that. And I feel like that was maybe a little bit extreme, but it does look gross. So I'm gonna take some paint thinner before this dries, and I'm just gonna do the same thing but with paint thinner. Just wash it out a little bit. Pour some on it, like so. Take some tissue and just smear everything around a little bit. And just so you know, because I did something that was really stupid and I saw myself do it, and it's caught on camera and it's really dumb. And that is, I actually worked with flammables really close to light right here. And someone is probably going to talk about it in the comments, and whatever you have to say, just know that I totally know what I just did, and I agree that it was really stupid and a really bad thing to do. Yeah, that was something that I really shouldn't have done. Don't ever do what I just did next to a candle. I only have this pumpkin there because I'm making a video and it's supposed to be fun, but it's not actually fun if someone gets hurt. So never ever work with lacquer stain or lacquer or thinner or paint thinner or anything like that near fire. This was very stupid of me to do. Seriously, that's really dangerous and really stupid to do something like that. And I'm sorry that you saw me do that, but I caught myself really quickly doing something really dangerous and dumb. So yes, I just want to make sure that you know that that's not okay. And I don't think it's actually okay for me to show you something like that, but now it's a part of the video. So yes, it's one of those things that I hate when I see other people on YouTube do videos and they do something dangerous like that. So yes, I just did that myself. And I apologize to anyone sincerely who saw that, because yes, I mean, everyone who's watched this video saw that, but yes. Be very careful around fire. You can really hurt yourself. Now we're gonna at least try to put this together, and hopefully I won't do something stupid and dangerous. But you never know, with me, I'm crazy. Okay, so with that nastiness out of the way, and I'm really sorry about that, let's open this up and see what we get. So first you have to take this sleeve down, but we don't need the box for anything, so we might as well just rip it off. And then we open this. I like how I said that I needed to keep the mistakes I do in the videos, and then I go and do something really stupid that is not the kind of mistake I want to show you guys. But here are the instructions. As you can see, it's super easy to build, and yeah. So let's open this up. If we can find a scissor to cut the bag. And see, so this is what I mean about, like, for example, let's not add everything. Like, for example, right here, if I can get it out of the bag, come here. Here I have some of the parts, and this, it's the little speaker, and we're gonna replace it with a jack, because there's no point. And the same thing with this. I don't really see a point in having this be a battery thing, when I can just use my guitar pedal power supply. And here's the board, and here are all the parts that are going to go in, and they are they're not labeled, so you might have to use a multimeter to measure them. But here's the face of the board, and as you can see where everything is going to go, and it is all labeled. And we have the instructions here, and it's written here. For example, R1 is 1 meg, and you can see here the colors. It's brown, black, green. Okay, so here is the spot where the knob is supposed to go. It's like so, but I want to mount this in the box. So I'm gonna put it on the other side, and I'm gonna try to make these legs stick out as little as possible so that they are as raised as possible. The best thing to do would be to switch these out for knobs with even longer legs, but I don't think I have any of those. And so we're gonna just go with these for now. So we're gonna have them like that. And then it's going to be a little bit fiddly because this is not really how you're supposed to do things. But we're going to come in from this side here and just trying to solder them in place. Like so. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with the LEDs. We're going to put them on this side. I don't know if you can see this, but there is a line that indicates which side is the negative side. So I made a tiny little black dot where they're going. And now I'm actually going to replace these LEDs with these blue ones. Show you what they look like. There you have them. And it's just because I actually think that, yeah, a blue one would be cooler. So I'm just going to put the blue ones in these holes. The long leg where I didn't do a mark. I want a spacer because I don't want these to just sit right down like this, because then I can't solder them in place. I need to raise them up a little bit so that I can solder them in place. And I'm leaning them a little bit like so, just so I can get in with my soldering iron. I just need to attach one of the legs on each, and then I can get in here and do a better job, making sure everything looks nice. Something like that. So now I can just raise these back up again, and I can resolder the two lost one because they got wobbled down a little bit. Something like that. That's pretty close to what I wanted. And now I'm just going to see if I can solder them to the other side as well and make everything look nice. But first I'm going to cut these legs off because they're in the way. And this is just going to be, we're just going to have to make holes for these controls, and we're just going to push on them a little bit, and we're going to make everything work for us, and I think it's going to be great. It's going to be easier to mount them inside of a box. And the fiddly part is that this is not made to be used this way. And that's basically it. We have these two wires here that goes to the new input jack instead of the piezo. And we have these knobs here and these LEDs here. And we have to put this in. But I'm going to take a break and try to come up with something better than this, because I do have a actual antenna that I think maybe could be better. Okay, so I've been fiddling around with the box a little bit, and I put on a little skull here. If you remember last year's Halloween video, I had control knobs that were skulls, and I took the skull from one of those because I apparently still have them, and I glued it on, and I put some epoxy clay and smeared it around just to get a little bit more of a nice texture. And once everything is dried, I'm gonna paint it. I put some furniture nails on it, and I buffed them a little bit to give them a little bit of a shine. I'm gonna paint the inside black later once everything is dried completely. And I also glued on some little brackets here to hold everything else in place. I also took a piece of wood and I cut out for the controls and the LEDs and everything. So here it is mounted. It's just a piece of wood and some holes. I didn't film it because it was too much of measuring and things like that, and it wouldn't be any real point to it, or at least I thought so. I'm gonna make a hole around here somewhere to put in this switch, because I'm not completely sure of how this electronics works, to be perfectly honest. They're a little bit weird for my taste, actually, so I can't really make any sense of how this thing works. But I've gotten it to work, so it does work, I just don't really understand it. So I'm gonna have this put in place here, and I'm gonna have just a tiny piece of wood of some sort, maybe like a tiny little stick or something, just, you know, glue some pieces in place to just keep everything pressed down like that, just a little piece like that. So that's the next thing I'm gonna do. And the last thing is, we have this weird cable thing that I have lying around here somewhere that you were gonna use to do the whole wow effect thing. But I had this toy arm that you can pull out. It's basically like a radio arm, and it gets really long, so I doubt that it's gonna be any point really to have it this long. But I was thinking that it was fun, and maybe we could use the entire thing. I don't know. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'll have to come up with something else. But I made this little latch thing here, so I can pull this up and I can press this in and it stays up. I'm gonna drill a hole here, the cable. That's where I am right now. A little bit more finessing, adding this switch so that I can turn it on and off. Okay, so these little brackets here that are holding things together has dried now, at least well enough for me to do some other things. And I have this switch here that I want to work on. So this is how we're gonna do it. I have these cables that goes to the thing here that you plug your battery into, and we're just gonna pull this over here, go over to the middle leg here, and pull back the wire a little bit, snip it off, and then we are just gonna solder this cable here, right here to the middle leg, and then we're gonna take this wire, the other end, we cut, we're stripping it back just like before, and we're adding a little bit of solder to the wire, and we're putting that wire here. So now, when we flick this switch, we can turn it on and off. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to add a wire that goes from connection where the wire that was supposed to be the antenna for this is supposed to go. So, I'm just going to pre-tin a wire and put it in that place. And I've made a little hole and pull this into. And then I can pull the wire through that hole out to the opening here. And here we have a little arm that sticks up that is holding the old wire. And we just solder these two together like so, and now you can see it's just connected there. Okay, so here's the box right now, and if we open it up, this is what it looks like. I painted the inside, and now we're gonna install this. All we have to do is we have to solder those two instead of having this thing here. So I'm just gonna cut that off because I'm not gonna be able to show you because my hands are gonna be in the way. The big leg right there. And that leg there are the two connections. That's the ground and that's the lead. And I have a jack here already put in place. There you can see what it looks like. The ground here is the blue one, but I'm not actually sure it matters because it didn't matter on the other one. And then I've painted everything. I made some buttons out of a piece of acrylic, but I just cut that to size basically. There's nothing special about it. So let's just cut these off because I don't really care about this anyway. We just need to solder these wires in place. Start off with the ground wire, something like that. I'm sorry if you couldn't see anything, but it's too fiddly and there's no way of my hands not being in the way. And then we just have to put this in place, and we can push this through the hole, put the washer on, tighten everything down, and we can press this in place like so. Ta-da! And now it's closed. Okay, so it's finished. I have it right here. This thing is not as good as I was hoping it would be, and I think it's because you can pull it out a lot further than you need to, and it doesn't really seem to work that much, so you have to basically extend it and just make it a little bit shorter than it actually can be. So somewhere around there maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna look for a new one that works better. Now, before we start playing it, I just want to say a couple of things. The first thing is, I don't actually know how this works. I haven't figured out how to make it do anything properly. I looked online on how the controls works, and I couldn't find anything. And I'm talking about the kit now. I found information on how a Theremin works, but I didn't find information on how to make this kit work the right way it's supposed to. So maybe it doesn't really have a way to work perfectly. So if you're looking at buying this kit to maybe build something that will be replacing an actual Theremin, you know, a big one that costs like, I don't know, $400 or $800 or something like that. This kit for like 15 bucks is not good for that. But anyway, just want to put those things out there. So I'm going to make some noise with this, and first we're going to play it just the way it is, and then we're going to plug in some pedals and see what happens. And yeah, we're just gonna see what happens, but I can't promise you that you're gonna like what you're hearing because I don't know how to play this and I don't know how it works. So yeah, starting up the amp and starting up this, and the lights are showing, and for some reason there is no sound, and that's obviously there is no sound because I forgot to plug it in. Oh. Can't really make any sense out of it, but you can. Let's start some pedals. Let's see what happens. Like a weird wizard or something, just that's the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm a little bit disappointed in this kit, but maybe I can make some weird, crazy changes to it to make it better or worse. I don't know. This is the beginning of something, possibly. I don't know. Talk to me in the comments below, especially if you have any fun idea for what I can do with it. Or if you have any information at all that could be useful for me. Again, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't pressed the like and subscribe button, please do so. And until next time, don't forget to stay awesome and cool, and go and make crazy weird noises with whatever you have, or you can build this crazy weird thing and see what happens. And yeah, it's all good. Do all of that. And we're getting close to Halloween, so woo!